down the nuances of the case, and what you think I can do in a given situation, what the law says you're allowed to do. That may be two different things. And when people just get up here and say, well, if someone puts their hands on me, I'm going to pull out my gun and shoot them, dude, you're going to jail. Because Texas law reads like this with criminal defense in the case. And it starts with this: a reasonable person, not whether you're freaked out or not, your average person with a reasoned mind would perceive that the threat is going to cause death or serious bodily injury, the type that put you in a hospital, in ICU, that type of bodily injury, that then and only then can you escalate the use of force to be deadly. And people's talking.
Steve, don't even mute up. You have to mute up. Let's have the conversation. This young man is sitting on the bleachers or inside this tent. He's surrounded by two not small white kids. That's imminent danger. If I'm sitting somewhere and two guys come over to me, put their hands on me, rest assured I'm putting them down. This kid's gonna walk.
Well, Jay, the guy that specializes in defense, I hate to tell you, disagrees with you. It'd be akin to this: if I drive up and I'm in a parking lot and I pull in a parking space and some guy thinks I cut him off, I get out of my car and the guy comes up and grabs me by the shirt. Do I have a right at that point, by the law, not by my intuition, not by my reaction, but by the law, do I have a right to pull out my 9mm and lay him down? The answer is yes.
In my opinion, yes, and I'm going to tell you why. Because you don't know what his intentions are when he grabs you. For all you know, his intentions are to hurt you, kill you, maim you, or do something else. In my opinion, if somebody puts their hands on you, you have every right in any manner to defend yourself.
And my answer to the question is, if someone puts their hands on you or you feel threatened or afraid, you have the right to, quote, reasonably defend yourself, close quote. Now, what does reasonably defend yourself mean? It's different state by state. For example, in Florida or Texas, as Jay said, arguably with stand your ground, you very well could put out a 9mm and shoot them, and you would be found, you wouldn't even be charged. On the other hand, if the exact same thing happened in California, you arguably could be charged with voluntary manslaughter. So the answer is, and I'll land it here, you have the right to reasonably defend yourself, and depending on what state you're in, that which is reasonable is different. Thank you.
Well, let me say this real quick, Steve. Let me just say this real quick. The issue I have with this case, right, that it's become a racial case, is the people that are celebrating the death of this young white man. He should have never put his hands on him. He should have never got involved. He should have went to that teacher or a security guard or whatever. But people that celebrate this are horrible people. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I work with police in the job as a politician in the job that I'm in. And we got to have these discussions all the time about use of force. Now, obviously, the use of force for a police officer is going to be a different type than it is going to be for a civilian. But there's a doctrine called the escalation of force. And the escalation of force, you're allowed to use what force is necessary to neutralize whatever perceived danger there is. Like, for instance, if a guy pulls a knife out on you, and he's coming towards you with a knife, obviously the knife can kill you. At that point, because of the escalation of force doctrine, you're allowed to pull your gun out and shoot him. If a guy's wolfing on you with no visible weapons, to pull a gun out and just blow him away, at that point, you're probably in trouble.
Wait, so Steve, let me, before I go to the great Nicholas, let me ask you this. Have you ever seen a man beaten to death? With somebody, like a man beat somebody with his hands to death? Have you seen that, Steve?
I've seen it close. I've I've seen guys get their head blown off, literally. I've seen a guy empty.
I'm not talking about guns. I'm talking about just you and I fighting.
I'm just saying, Jay, I seen a guy empty a clip into a guy's head at point blank range one night.
Well, let me tell you, son. I've seen somebody get beat to death. I've seen more than one person get beat to death. And hands are weapons, man. Especially if somebody knows how to use those hands. That young man, Carmelo Anthony, he doesn't know what these two brothers are capable of.
Yeah, he doesn't have a scratch on him, Jay.
Edmund, hold on a second. If somebody grabs me like that, I'm fading right to black, and I'm doing what I have to. Edmund, hold on. Let me say hello to Nicholas real quick. The great Nicholas, what's up?
Hey, everybody. I have a couple comments, but I hope you're having a good Easter.
Happy Easter, my friend. The mic is yours.
Oh, okay. So I do actually agree with the previous speaker that was saying it depends on the state. Like, I also think so here's where I think the weakness is, right? So we obviously know, like, in Texas, you don't have a duty to retreat, right? You are able to basically fight to kill if you really need to. The argument is going to be, like, his response of, like, essentially, if you come any closer or whatever. What did he say to him? The response where he was like, "See, watch what happens."
Find out.
Yeah, if that was an escalation or not, a proportional escalation in the situation. I don't know what happened before he said that because I was there. I don't know if that's been reported on. I think that will be the weakness in the argument. But I'm with Jay. If I'm in a jury, I'm not sending him to jail. I'm sorry. This could 2 against 1. You're obviously in an area you're obviously at a detriment. I believe you should be able to fight to kill. I live in Florida. I would have shot them both to death if I had a gun on me.
You believe in fighting to kill because somebody told you to get out of a tent? You are so brainwashed and deranged. And this is why it's like high school. And, if you ever got in trouble in high school, it becomes a he said, she said. I got to tell you, I think these conversations are like traps, meaning that they're totally circular in nature, but they're like walking through barbed wire with stupid people. And I'm not saying you're stupid. Everyone's got their opinion, but let's be honest. As grown men, this is actually just like high school. He said, she said. I think it's totally pointless. Thus why I read books and go to the gym. But I do love you all. I do.
So why are you here if you're bitching about people's views?
Edmund, if you don't like the conversation, leave quietly buttons.
No, I agree. But I'm just saying, to me, it's like putting my head in a blender every single time and listening to people do really bad takes. It's my opinion.
Says the man that has 50 burners and records every room.
Listen, if you think that stabbing somebody in the chest with a knife is okay and you shouldn't have to go to jail, not even for a couple of years, or go under some kind of re-education, you're the problem, schmucko. You're the problem.
And I'm going to tell you why I think he's going to get off. Young black kid in a wealthy white area, surrounded by 2 kids, and they put their hands on him. As a parent, as a father, I don't know if you have kids, but if that was my son, I'd have no problems with what he did. Because he defended himself. So that's just how I feel. But guys, we'll go popcorn style. Ping people in, please.
I completely agree with you, JB, and I'm empathetic not only to his age, but to the scenario itself, right? That's a rough circumstance to be in. However, the law, I know how the law works, and I'll tell you now, I see it being involuntary manslaughter. He'll cop out to about 10 years. Unfortunately, but with good behavior, he's out in 5 to 7. That's what I see happening.
So, Sergi, let's stir the pot a little bit, right? Let's play hypothetical, which I will trigger Edmund, but that's fine. If that young man that got that if he had stabbed a young black kid and he got off, would there be rioting in the streets?
If one of the other 2 assailants had did that?
No. If the person that got killed happened to be a happened to be a black kid, and the assailant was
looking like Cleveland.
I don't know why you keep interrupting, but I'm gonna move you down because you're an idiot. So let's say the roles were reversed. There was 2 black kids that surrounded the white kid, and the white kid stabbed the black kid and he died. And then the white kid gets off. Would our cities be on fire?
It's hard to say, JB, and the only reason why I say it's hard to say is we got to look at the kind cases that come out on the media, and then what we get because there were cell phones viewing the interaction, right? I mean, a lot of cases go under the radar. So, but if I were to just be hypothetical, maybe, maybe because they're kids. So that's what I say.
Why can't JB? This is the last thing I want to say.
I think there would be riots over it. I really do.
Why can't people on this app and other places who are talking about this actually project and for just a couple minutes imagine themselves as Anthony Metcalf? All of us have probably been in physical confrontations that didn't escalate to us dying and getting stabbed in the heart. The point is, just think about young, poor Anthony Metcalf, who literally is in a physical altercation. Next thing you know, you get stabbed in the heart, and then you're like, oh no. And then you're thinking to yourself, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe I just got stabbed in the heart. I'm dying. And then you die, and you can't think anymore. Like, why can't people look at the perspective of the person who died, who got killed, got knifed in the chest, and his moment of surprise when he realized he just got stabbed and he's about to die? Like, what is so hard for people to understand what this person went through and how nobody thinks about that? I don't understand why people can't put themselves in his shoes.
Edmund, let me say something here. Do you see what's going on in this world right now? Not just this country. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Luigi Mangione is getting off. Do you see the groupies? All he needs is one woman on that jury to find him attractive or cute or smart. And he cold-blooded killed that dude.
No.
There's no doubt about it. Hold on. Criminality is being tried in the media. Why do you think they're holding press conferences for this kid, Carmelo Anthony? It's the truth.
Well, you gotta wait till it goes to trial.
Can I finish, or do I have to move? I don't want to move it, bro. It's Easter.
No, you can finish.
But what I'm saying here is, criminality is being tried in the media. It started with OJ, and it's carried over to today. It's really true. This kid's gonna get off because somebody in that jury is gonna watch the media, and there's been this spin on these perpetrators as the victims. That's the way society's going right now. Now, Edmund, I'm not saying it's right, bro.
No,
it's
but
tragic. This kid got killed.
I know, but what I'm saying is in the trial, the reversal of that exact position takes place where the jury, this is called like basically dark psychology for how to win trials. The jury is presented with the position. What they try to do is activate the reptilian mind to where the herd psychology overtakes, and they say, okay, this is a threat.
I can't do too much of that, man. I tried my hardest for them. DJ Smackahoe, what's good, man? Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, salute to the room.
People are laughing.
This is a straight up case of self-defense. The media is trying to turn it into a racial issue, and it's crazy to me because if the roles were reversed, like Homeboy said, it wouldn't even be no coverage on it. You know what I'm saying? That's how it shows you how crazy white supremacy is in this it's going on in this country. You know, and nobody's celebrating the kids' death. We just simply saying that we have the same rights as you guys as white civilians in this country. That's all we're saying. Like, no one's celebrating that.
Well, respectfully, DJ, let's have the dialogue. I've never seen you before. You know, I've maybe been in my spaces, but I haven't seen you before. But I'll say this. The spaces I've been in the last couple of days, I've heard quite a few people say, fuck that white kid. I'm glad he's dead.
Well, the internet, you know, a lot of people gonna say a lot of cool stuff. The internet. Hold on, Aisha. Yeah, the internet, you know, they heartless, man. They gonna say a lot of stuff, man. You can't listen to trolls, man. But sound-minded people don't think like that. For real. I'm mute up for a second, my sister.
All right. Anybody want to jump in? Steve, 17.
Yeah, I mean, at the point of being redundant, Jay, seriously, I think what's being lost here, and I'm serious about this, is the escalation of force doctrine that's in the law and how the law actually reads. And, to say that this is, if you're sitting there and a guy touches you and you look at him and say, touch me again and find out, does that show fear? Or is that like a challenging retort to what happened? Are you doing a challenge, or are you in fear or something, or are you escalating when you sit and say, touch me again and find out? That kind of mitigates your self-defense.
Wait. Hold on, DJ. Let me just say this. Steve, let me just say this to you. Respectfully, you're my friend, and I mean that. But these jurors are eventually going to vote on their emotions, not the law. The truth is, if his defense attorneys play it the right way, this kid's going to walk. Because they're going to play the emotions, they're going to play the parent, they're going to put the mother on the stand, she's going to cry. And the truth is, Steve, in my opinion, a young black man in Texas surrounded by two big white kids, it was 100% self-defense.
Well, Jay, I hear a lot of people talking about this. But a lot of people don't have to constantly think about the repercussions of what's going to happen in real life. Like, say, dealing with the police department, we got to be very cognizant about use of force, Jay, because we're a small
The
municipality,
prosecution will explain the law word by word and walk them into the logical and technical truth and the violation of the law.
We got to be cognizant and not just go based on, well, you're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? People say that, and that's a street thing. But a street thing and a legal thing is not always the same issue. But I agree with you. I think there's been so much coverage. There's been so much talk about this that I don't think the legalities of this is going to matter. I think you're going to have probably someone on that jury that's heard something either through the coverage or on the internet that's going to have their mind made up, and I don't think the facts are going to matter. I think it's going to be a moot point. And if he gets off, I think it'll be a hung jury.
I'd like to contribute briefly, if that's okay. The Anthony issue, in my humble opinion, is completely different than the Mangione issue. And the reason why is because the Anthony issue, if I'm not mistaken, happened on the spur of the moment. I really don't know a lot about it. I'm going to educate myself a lot more. I don't know if the two people knew each other prior to this event, or if the first time they met was when this altercation happened. But this was an altercation in the spur of the moment. The Luigi Mangione, you know what I'm saying? That guy, that was planned out days in advance. It was a lie in wait, and then he executed his plan. He was an assassin. So I think the two issues are not the same, and it becomes very. I just think the two are completely different issues.
Steve,
that's my humble opinion.
Steve,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The only reason I brought that case up specifically is because it's being played out in the media.
Yep.
So if it wasn't played out in the media, the dude's going to do 80 years in prison. But because it is played out in the media, and all these women are showing up at his trial, he's getting 5,000 letters a week.
Oh yeah. He's getting marriage proposals. He's a good-looking guy. He's got an 8-pack, right? The guy's a good-looking guy, no question about it. In fact, JB, and I said this right off the bat, JB, that if the dude was like 45 years old, he was like me, 5'10", 220 pounds, rather than a 20-something dude like 5'10" or 6'1", 165 with an 8-pack, it would be completely different. I said that right off the bat.
Absolutely. So Steve, hold on one second, because DJ's been trying to jump in. DJ Smack, I hope?
Yeah. No, I was just gonna piggyback off what he was saying, that it could be a jury. Why you laughing at my name?
Bruh, that DJ Smack was clapping.
That's just my stage name, you know what I'm saying? I'll be rhyming. But what happened with them, man, is like I said, it's self-defense. Like it was two against one. They did something they wasn't supposed to do. I mean, I feel sorry for the kid, because because he didn't expect to get a knife to the chest, you know. But he didn't know what they was gonna do to him. They outweighed him over like 200 pounds, you know. So they was bullying him, and there's rumors going around. I don't know how true they are. That he had got beat up by him about like a week ago at a party or something. I don't know if that's true or not. And they seen him and they took it upon themselves and went to the tent and started harassing the young man. You understand? And then they broke his phone, started beating his ass, and that's when he said, "Touch me again, and you're gonna see what's happening." You only say that to somebody when they being very aggressive to you. That's the only time you're gonna say that to somebody. You're not gonna say that to nobody that's being nice to you. You're not.
I agree with that, DJ.
You're not.
But
You're not gonna say that to nobody.
like I said, look, that picture right there, I got you, Big Stank. But that picture right there, that's really me. I'm a white man in America, middle-aged white guy in America. And I'll say, RJ, it's true. Hey, listen, I am who I am. But I'll say this.
I'm laughing at these names, bro. How you just casually dropping these names. Y'all love Clubhouse.
They look like Triple H.
I look like Triple H. I wish I had Triple H's money. But I'll tell you what. If I was a young black man, especially in a southern state like Texas, and two larger white kids start putting their hands on me, it wasn't premeditated. So I don't know how they're going to prove first-degree murder if it's not premeditated. And I'm going to do whatever I can do. Listen, we all know fight or flight, right? Either you run or you fight. Maybe he couldn't run. Maybe he was surrounded by the two of these guys. We don't know the position he was in. But let me go. Certainly, hold on 1 second, please. Because I have a thing. If you're from Brooklyn, you go before anybody else. RJ, what's good, man? Brooklyn love.
What's going on, bro? Wait, can I get added to the queue?
It's your turn right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Happy Easter, bud.
Appreciate happy Easter to you too and your family, bro. Yeah, I just feel, I'm in Texas. I understand the culture. I think they're doing a distasteful job in the media with trying to profile the families on both sides of the families. I think it's just one of those things where the public is going to have their opinion, right? But I think they're not going to. It'll be fucked up if they don't publicize the trial. Like, I truly believe that.
All right, everybody, take out your bowl, take out your weed, and take out your lighter and get ready to take a hit with me. If you got red wine, raise up a glass and say a prayer for the observer, because the observer still needs your prayers. Without your prayers, who is the observer? The observer loves prayers. Prayers are very powerful on 420. It's a very mystical day, when you can smoke and drink on 420. If you got any Hennessy and Courvoisier, mix it together, put it in a blender, and you can call it Tap That Ass. All right, everybody. Take out your bowls or your blunts and get ready to light one for the old Benji. He the old goat. The goat himself. The observer. The jigsaw.
What you like about the jigsaw? What you fascinated?
Jigsaw and Pinocchio is an ancient myth. Do you know it's essentially the golem, or how to actually create, or it's really demonology is what it is.
Demonology, tell me more.
So you can, through magical operations, take control of powerful demons to do your bidding. They're a little bit like Pokemon.
You like the Pinocchio?
Yeah, I think everybody as a kid likes Pinocchio because it's about self-actualization. It's about somebody with less than great self-esteem who's trying to figure out why they're not a real man or a real boy, meaning they feel artificial or synthetic. It's not quite the real deal. It's not a cheeseburger.
What would you say if Jigsaw comes to reality and you wake up one day and you open your eyes and there's a real life Jigsaw game taking place? Would you be afraid or would you accept it?
No, I have a couple jigsaws that live with me that run around my apartment.
I was talking about real life reality. You wake up in the news and somebody's on a Jigsaw game.
No, what I'm saying is I have clown toys, like, pretty nice clown toys that I bought on eBay. So, like, they're my jigsaw projection.
So if you see somebody in a Jigsaw game live on television like you seen in the Soul movie, you're going to accept it? Because you sooner or later your game will come.
Yeah, well, one time I was waiting in a line and a fight broke out, and I couldn't believe it, but my dad broke the fight up. And I was like, are you fucking crazy? Like, why in the world would you risk getting in a fight with these guys, you know? Couldn't believe it. I was like, you're fucking crazy.
Fucking crazy.
He but basically my dad like knew Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and like put one of them in a headlock and just, talked him down from like fighting each other to the death. I was like, what's the point? Just fucking just let him fight it out.
To the death.
You gotta get out of my tent, man. You in the wrong tent, dude. And like, it's raining outside, and I know you're just trying to get out of the rain, man, but you gotta get out of here, man. You can't come in our tent, dude. Touch me again and find out. Whoa, man. You're getting a little gaslit, bro. Stop road raging in the tent, bro. Ah! You stabbed me in the heart! Ah! I'm dying! Ah! I'm dead! Next thing you know, you got like $1 million in the bank account, a new house, and a new car, and you're like the toast of the town on MSNBC. Rachel Maddow. What's her face? Who's no longer at MSNBC. But, anyways, yeah, you stabbed me in the heart.
But what is your goal on here? What is your purpose? Do you have a goal to reach on here, or you just?
No, I'm literally just totally procrastinating right now. I should have left my house like 6 hours ago.
No, I'm talking about in general, not like right now. I'm talking about your goal in general, all the rooms.
Comedy. Comedy is the goal. That's truly the goal.
Just to reach comedy, you don't have no internal goal out of all of this, like a purpose.
Yeah, publish comedy.
Publish comedy. When you feel like it's time to reach your end,
no, comedy never dies. It's the perpetual category. It's evergreen.
The only time it ends is when you die, but you still live on after.
Yeah, I'll live in the metasphere as a comedian forever, in the stars of comedy. Like my friend Gallagher or Norm Macdonald.
So you had to make out this lives for the comedy that happens on this earth.
Exactly. I'm observing comedy. Nobody knows they're being funny. Everybody's taking themselves seriously, but they don't know that the universal joke is the comedy. They are literally completely brainwashed, and they have no idea that they're actually comedians. They think they're like JCC. He takes himself so seriously that he doesn't, he plays the role of a comedian a little bit. But what I'm saying is comedy is really flexible psychology. And people on this app are completely inflexible, as you can tell. They are so uptight. And like you said, how many times will they continue to argue their position until they realize that they're ridiculous? So.
Yeah, I don't think they'll ever realize that.
But they will. Eventually they break and they say, okay, I'll try to be funny. Because to be a comedian, you have to essentially take on a different persona. If you want to do an imitation, do an Indian guy, do a Russian guy. Like it's comedy. It's essentially it sounds.
Your Indian guy is great. Could you do it for us?
Thank you very much. What I am trying to say is that on 420, if you don't have a sense of humor when you smoke your blunt and drink your Hennessy and Courvoisier, you are insulting us hoge kote, tari mani boss banchot, And what I'm saying is, you have to try to stop being yourself if you want to be funny. Like, all the people who are evergreen and like they're super Christian and they look like Superman or Woody from Toy Story, like, you have to try to do something funny to prove that you're not completely brainwashed and brain dead with dogmatism and religious inflexibility, or essentially all or nothing positioning, which is called cognitive distortion disorder. I am complete. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
You stabbed me in the heart.
Okay.
You stabbed me in the heart.
That's when his game.
Underneath the
Yeah,
big
he's
tent.
like, comedy is like.
I'm dead now.
I don't know. He's like a little everything rolled into. Like, he's like a Tootsie Roll.
You know, I recently wrote a new song called Carmelo Anthony Killed Me. Do you want to hear it?
It's up to Benji because it's their room. Black girl.
It's about a boy in a tent. And there's a terrible thunderstorm. It goes a little something like this. You stab me in the heart. I'm dead now. Carmelo, no. Carmelo done killed me. He done stabbed me in the heart. I just said, I know it's raining outside, but you gotta leave our tent. You can't be in here. He yelled back at me. Put your hands on me, I'll find out. So I took out my shift and I stabbed him in the heart. And I said, Carmelo, that's my name, don't you forget it. I don't want to go in the rain. I just want to be in the tent, just relax with you. Why did you have to ask me to leave? So I killed you. And my name is Carmelo, don't you forget it. You stabbed me in the heart. I am dead now. Thank you. I am complete.
Oh my God. I feel sick right now after that, really. Okay.
I told you it's a comedy routine. You may not laugh every time, but if you feel sick in the stomach, then that means the comedy is working. It means it's technically taking root in your soul. It's working.
It reminded me of my days of being in a tent with my true love who left me. And he would stab me and poke me as well in the heart. And I'm climbing up a mountain of memories.
So you know what's better than shifting? You know, what are those things called in jails? Shifts? Is that what it's called? Anyways, you know what's better than stabbing somebody in the heart? Threatening to stab them in the heart, but not actually stabbing them in the heart. Or even like giving them a slice, you know, be like, back up, or I'm going to use this knife. You know, that's generally how people use a knife in self-defense. They don't generally just thrust and go, you dead. You are in the Matrix and no one can understand what is being said.
If we had a process to accommodate, maybe we learned from all cultures a little bit, but again we can't. We are stuck in a cycle.
He had to stick his fingers in the holes.
Yeah.
Stick his fingers in the hole. Comedy? No.
Aspects of the case where Melissa posted 2 links one for the stand your ground and another broader self-defense claim, and we went point by point. And people like myself would say that he doesn't qualify. He doesn't qualify. The events as described by the affidavit don't qualify him for self-defense or stand your ground. And then there were other people who were just saying, perhaps a more racialized sense that, well, he's black, he felt threatened, and from there, it's...
Sit down and win against. You get what I'm saying? Like, you slowly letting.
I need someone to steal me in this position. Everybody else was actually listening to it. It was just a basic, long-winded, stand your ground position. That's all. You didn't even have to interrupt, cut people off, or do any of that without just showing your emotion. And Concrete was correct. You took this and you made it your story somehow, and you made it really about you and how you feel. And it's got nothing really to do with you.
Line, are white people equal to black people? Line, are white people equal to black people?
Now you're interrupting.
Yeah, no, you're interrupted. You were continuously interrupting him, throwing out shots.
No, I didn't.
No. Yeah, you did.
Oh, so this is a get back state. This is a get back state.
I'm just saying.
Wait.
It's all about the get back. Thank you. It's time to get back.
This is my talk.
See how Tally is doing it now? You see it?
Yeah, Tally.
honest.
I didn't interrupt. I didn't come off the mic. Those are my kids. I waited my turn to speak, and by the way, I was interrupted.
Line, are you a racist?
Yes, but what does that have to do with the case?
It has to do with you're a disgusting person.
Your mother is a disgusting person for having you.
Why are you provoking, Andrew? Andrew, de-escalate, Andrew. Here's an opportunity, Andrew.
What does that got to do?
Here's an opportunity. De-escalate, Andrew.
Don't double team it, man.
Why can't
That was a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Andrew, why can't you compartmentalize?
But now ask him if race is on a spectrum.
Ethan was spot on, bro.
Hey, hold on. Hey, Andrew, why can't you compartmentalize your feelings like most adult men? Why not? Why you can't do it? We're not talking about me. We're not even talking about you.
Do you want to have a
But
beer?
you felt the need to try to personalize and pull me into the conversation.
No,
This
I'm
has
saying
nothing to
it's
do with
your-
it.
it's like when you're
We're actually talking about another guy's
That's
position,
like
Creed.
Jack the pedophile wants to come
It's
and say,
Creed's
I think
position
somebody
about
is
standing your
right
ground,
here.
and you want to know if I'm a racist.
Yeah.
I answered your question. What does that mean? What does that do? Now that you know I'm a racist, or you
Here's
confirmed it, what does that do for
We
you,
can
you
have an actual
bitch?
legitimate conversation. Why you?
What does that do for you?
Okay, it's not what it does for me. I was actually
So
using it
what
as
was the point of saying it?
Can't you I'm telling you why. It doesn't do anything for me. I'm telling you what it is that I said that for. Okay.
Why?
It is the case because if you have a position that's somewhere anywhere close to what Abracadabra said, okay.
All I said was all I did was took. You said, can anyone still man his position? And I said all he said was stand your ground.
No,
Lion, are you racist?
Stand your ground. That's not just.
That's all he said. That's all he basically said.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is. He just said stand your ground. Lion, are you racist? What does that got to do with anything, stupid?
No, I'm not talking about the stand your ground point. I agree. Nobody's going to disagree with stand your ground.
Nobody's, and that's the reason why people feel the way that they feel about you. You seem like a evil, slithering, conniving little bastard with a smile on your face and a name tag.
That's fine.
That's why people. It doesn't have really nothing to do with race. They can tell your personality. Your personality is trash. That's why you're not a real person.
And talking about how white people are terrible.
Who said anything about white people being terrible? Hey, did anyone in this room hear me say anything about white people being terrible today or yesterday? Did I bring up white people being terrible yesterday? Hey, did I bring up white people being terrible last week?
The last few days you have.
Hey, did I bring up white people being terrible last month?
The last time I was in the
Can anybody point out the last time I brought up white people being terrible?
Are you freaking kidding me? You don't have to.
Yes, please, anybody.
You said white people.
Hey, listen. Can anyone in this room?
Bro. Come on, Andrew.
Thank you. That's the point, and that's the problem with you.
We were.
Can Andrew get this out, please?
Hey, I'm waiting. I asked you a question. I gave you a chance. When was the last time Lion brought up white people or anything?
Last time I was in talking to you in this room. That's when.
When? And what did I say?
You brought up white people broadly. You did broad.
What did I say?
Attacks on white people.
Wait, what?
You did broad attacks on white people. You do that.
When did a broad attack on a white person? When details? Come, let's hear it.
You white people do X. You white people are.
Damn, they kicked me from the room. Ooh, that's great. Ooh, can't get in that room either, huh? Oh, hope they just block me completely forever.
The defender of whites.
Oh, that's
We get it
perfect.
now.
Hey, Monica, when was the last time I attacked you for being white?
Hey, do white people get oppressed?
No. Hold on. Hey, Monica, when was the last time that you felt attacked by a lion for being white?
Oh my gosh, this is so
Monica
stupid.
is white.
You want to make it
She isn't going to be on this lion.
Shut up. I need you to stop being a coon that we all know that you are. And we want the white people in the room who would naturally side with Andrew. I want them to come off the mic and just tell the truth.
Hey,
Because you're full of shit and everybody sees it, Andrew.
Hey, Lion, what do you ask me, Lion? Yeah, exactly.
Listen, you're an honorary white. You want so badly to be white that you will lie just to make it.
What is an adjacent white?
Yeah,
and hey, Lion, what is a coon?
He will lie, cheat, and steal, and even murder his own family
Lion,
just to
what
be
is a coon?
considered white.
Lion, what is a coon?
It is a sellout, someone who hates their own race for the benefit of another.
Of another? What's the other?
The other could be white. It could be anything not themselves.
It could be white.
Anything not themselves.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Your obsessions are showing.
It's just a
It's
race
sick
traitor.
as hell, ain't it?
It's a race traitor.
Yeah, pretty much.
Look at lady.
Lion, hey, Samoa, Lion, you gotta stop getting people all riled up because then you get all up under their skin and the only thing they can think about is you. Probably got a bulletin board at home with a bunch of tats.
They kicked me from the room. Do we have any more? Yeah, I think we got one more room. It'll be the last one.
I want to hear, I would like to hear Andrew's argument on why being, I guess, racism is inherently evil. Go ahead.
Well, I just take it to be that God created everybody to be equal. And it is the case that he operates through certain groups differently throughout history, but I take that to be based on their faith and how they're going to respond to him and his foreknowledge. So it's his foreknowledge of that. So he operates based on that. It isn't the case that he is picking a group of people and he's just like, oh yeah, it's your skin or your heritage that is what makes you more valuable. That is what makes you less valuable. And unfortunately, when you get to the New Testament, it was still very pervasive that people were devaluing, dehumanizing people. And it was made quite clear that in Christ, there's neither male nor female, nor slave nor free, nor Jew nor Gentile. And that's like an important, like monumental stride in equality that Jesus brought to the table that we still feed off of today.
Yeah, but the Dred Scott decision's more recent, Craig.
I think that principle is something that we should maintain, and I don't think we should abort people because they have a cleft lip or they have Down syndrome.
Damn, they kicked me again. Okay, well, that's great news. We got some good clips there. All right, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed my podcast. I'm shutting all this down, and I